So we have 2 letters from the library trustees on the 2 alternates,
Two trustees.
2 trustee alternates, Dave McKenzie, Ronnie Davy.
Yeah.
There's no vote for us, it's.
Right, that's just, they've already voted to do it, that's courtesy. Hi there. Hello. Easter festivities were
Backwards.
very successful.
Very, very, very well. Had some people come in from out of state.
Is this a thigh master?
It is.
I think I have one of those somewhere.
My only complaint I heard my granddaughter was that it wasn't the real Easter bunny, Graham. No, she could tell it was a fake, and she's like, I thought like a bunny was
The
gonna be
fact
there
that my
with a
feet kept
basket.
going out
Yeah,
6
it's
feet
the helper.
because the costume was too
I
large.
told her the Easter bunny was too busy.
It's the helper.
Yeah. I was surprised that she even said that.
The eggs were kind of fast, I heard.
Oh, yeah.
Next year, 10,000.
Oh my God, drop them from a helicopter.
You buy me a helicopter, I'll hang from it. You can all thank me now because I got a chainsaw today. I cut up all the wood in my yard, the trees that fell down, moved it all, so we'll only get rain.
Let's hope, let's hope. I hope you're right.
Sounds good to
I
me.
don't know.
Oh, I guess, let's see, let's. Thank you, Melissa, for doing the bunny, you did a great job.
I'm ready for next year. I already told Keith I wanna ride in on the new fire truck. On the back, I'm gonna hang on the back, hang on.
What?
I'll even sign a waiver if I fall off.
Yeah, it doesn't look too promising Wednesday, Thursday. Here for the worst. Pleasantly surprised with
Hopefully, just rain.
wish you were ready.
Yeah, I was thinking too that.
I've been telling people for 4 or 5 weeks now, don't get too comfortable.
No. I was thinking too, if it's, really bad on Wednesday, might have to close the transfer station, they're supposed to be peaking on Wednesday afternoon. You go right into Friday morning, I guess.
So how do we, you'll let me know if we should put a posting? or-
We'll, get the absolute latest tomorrow on the forecast, see what their projections are for, when's it gonna start, and when's it gonna really start accumulating. If it's just freezing rain or something, maybe we could just stay open for a couple hours and then close before it gets too bad.
I think Keith gets like, notices being on the emergency, like really good notices.
Right. That should too. That's those minutes. Before you went into non-public, you have to have the minutes that you went. I don't know if that's for you or me. They wanted to have a breakfast for Earth Day, which is fine, but there's the sign that's already out at the VFW, I don't know if that's from the Conservation Commission or the VFW, and
I think the one, that's the VFW is the 22nd.
I think it says the 20th.
Yes, the 20th.
It
It
says
says
20th?
April 20th. and my
So
mom
this
never
must
got
be the
back to
new,
me.
that must be the new sign then, cause it was the 22nd.
So is it in conjunction with the VFW and the conservation, or is it just the conservation?
Just conservation.
Okay. Thank you.
So the free pancake breakfast is for the conservation? I know the VFW guys are planning on doing something too.
Alright. If I don't hear from Mike tomorrow, I'll reach out to, what's his name? Jim Creighton.
Thanks. So the AES,
Yeah, they reached out to the person who Miller's filed a complaint on, and they met today, and it's all being taken care of, and all the proper permits are in place. I guess the Millers were disappointed we didn't get back in touch with them about it, but we didn't hear anything yet until today.
but who contacted DES?
I believe the,
Cause Mike's letter here saying that,
that just came today. From my guy
March
Jackson.
March 29th, yeah. But they weren't aware that DES was even contacted. So, who contacted DES, weren't us,
I think it was
Millis?
the Millers, it must have been. But it's all copacetic. I talked to Scott today.
Have you guys looked at the match yet? Yep. You looked at the match yet?
Yes, I did, yeah, it's fine with me.
They're accepted
I
and
move accept the minutes from, it was March 18th,
18.
and the non-public for March 18th, and the two March 26th non-public,
we lost, yeah.
I second that.
and those are sealed. Molly coming in shortly.
Yeah, she said she was gone. I just printed that because
Okay.
I could.
Now,
Not cheap to do it right.
where was the number?
Hmm?
Where was the number?
They didn't
Oh.
give us one.
Right.
Just- They said they would if we wanted to go forward.
It's better than the other. No, he's good.
So Matt Harwood wanted to know about the gym floor. If we were gonna move forward, if you wanted to get started, if you wanted to take a breather for a little bit.
Is he still up there working, or is he all finished?
Pretty much all finished. That lumber and stuff,
Yep,
Sprinklers.
we moved that.
that wasn't his.
There's a lot of little finishing things that he needs to look at. Right offhand, I know there's some trim hanging in the bathroom that's loose.
Okay.
There's, another place where there's a piece missing, there's a gap. Over behind the piano, it looks like there was,
There's some painting too.
yeah, something was taken off, like
A couple pieces of trim on
yeah,
painted.
yeah, and then there was a light, emergency light that was removed and replaced, but they would put it in a different place, so there's like a blotch there.
So he has to go up and.
Yeah, I think he needs to just fine tune a few things.
Needs to do the final touches. Okay, I'll tell him he needs to do that.
And just briefly, I did go up to the housing conference. Didn't really get a lot out of it. I mean, it's, 23,000 units short right now in the state. It's a huge, huge number.
Yeah.
I know somebody that was supposed to do a huge development in Peterborough, they just pulled the plug on it. It's too bad, it's a lot of units.
Wow.
It's not cost effective now with the price of materials and interest rate.
Right.
I really don't see an answer. We were up there, Bethany,
Yeah.
there's a lot.
One of the biggest things that conference really highlighted was towns really need to make it more attractive for developers, and I think Bennington already has very easy
Yeah, it's-
opportunities for developers. So in that sense, I think we're where these presenters want all towns to be.
I think we're well beyond that, but
Yeah.
the bottom line is the way the price of everything is right now, I don't foresee any new development happening. You know, we've got, and then you have to deal with, the conservation commissions and where's the best place to put places. And it's a big communication thing within the whole town to find out, because we need housing. I mean, it's not gonna go away. And, even after the conference, I really want a lot of questions answered. The subsidies from the government have pretty much been relinquished, there's nothing left to speak of. And to build affordable housing, you need subsidies. Because if you only can charge so much per unit, your costs have to be at a certain level to make it cost effective to build it.
Someone had called about Dave Blanchard's property.
Blanchett.
Dave
Blanchard.
Blanchett.
Got it.
Blanchett's property,
behind Dollar General.
and he asked about low-income housing, and he's gonna meet with the planning board, and see what he has to say. That's what his planning board says, is it even worth it for him to
Right.
move forward with it?
I just know that this big project in Peterborough, I thought for sure was a go. And they pulled the plug just because it's not cost effective for those guys. It's not gonna happen. And if you notice around, there's not a lot of building going on. I mean, private homes, yes, but.
There's that low-income in Hillsborough, though, right by.
Yes, that's going on right now,
How
yes.
does she,
So I don't know, it was pretty discouraging. A lot of people are up there, but I think a lot of those people too are up there.
Are they still doing the one at the mill in New Hampshire, or did that get
I don't think they talked about it, but I don't think it's really
on anywhere? Yeah.
I was hoping to get some information and just, there's a bunch of things you can do for a private homeowner, you know, but on the scale that we need. The accessory dwelling units, the ADUs, they're doing it all over the country. It's like an MR apartment or whatever, but we're 23,000 units short in the state right now, housing. And by 2030, it's gonna be up to 60,000. The rehab facility that was supposed to be built in Peterborough, which is something that's very much needed in this area, was put on hold, and it was basically because of housing. They could not get enough employee, or there is, people that work for them, they need 65 people altogether. And I think they come up with about 30. And the root of it all was lack of housing.
How does Bennington do in terms of housing? Are we short housing?
Oh yeah, we're all short.
I mean, I know everybody's short, but is there any data on how short?
How short each town is now, they didn't have any of that. I mean, it's. I think they go by region. I mean, it's. I don't know, it's.
You'd only know if people complained, like said, oh my gosh, I can't find a house in Bennington.
Go on Facebook.
There's a
they're
lot more,
everywhere.
there's more questions than there are answers. Oh,
Okay. Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if that'll sweep me up.
So, yeah, please,
What do you plan on asking?
thank you.
So happy Easter, I hope you all had
Happy
a good
Easter
one.
to you.
Thank you.
So the library trustees are just throwing themselves into this whole rhubarb thing. And, we have, a number of questions for the board. Can we ask the town to ask the road crew to help us set up the tents, the tables, the perimeter fence at the fairground?
You know more about this.
Well, I think we went through that before, but they can do a little, but they can't set it all up.
Okay, no, not everything, but they, like, I mean, the vendors bring their own tents.
No,
But
but I
there
mean,
are tents that the town owns.
that, in the past, that was our responsibility.
Right. So I'm just hoping that we'll continue to do that this year.
I mean, the Rhubarb Festival,
Oh, I'm sorry,
not the town.
not the town. Okay, so you're saying in the past, it's
Mhm.
been the committee's responsibility to set those up? Aha, okay, we weren't sure who'd set them up in the past. I know that Bethany had done yeoman's work in setting up the field, but, didn't know if we could get some extra help on that.
Well, they'll be bringing tables, so they can bring tables
Mhm.
from the VFW and whatnot, chairs and stuff like
And
that.
from the Newhall field?
They can get stuff out of the shed and bring it over.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
So they'll bring it over?
Yep.
Okay,
And it's up to us to
that's a
have
start.
So that's
volunteers.
a help, yeah.
If you have a
That's
date,
help.
if you have a date when you do it, I'll help you.
Well,
Friday before.
Like when, like a date and time, I can come help and set up.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I can probably grab a couple people.
So, of course, we need to have everything set up by Friday night, because we don't wanna be setting up Saturday morning.
So are we still looking at us doing Saturday?
Yes,
Not Saturday and Sunday?
no, just
Just
Saturday,
Saturday.
Just Saturday.
just Saturday. And, okay, so the road crew will bring all the stuff over. Great, and Tony, thank you for offering to help get things set up. We'll, and then there's take down, there's also, and there's
It would be
bring the
good
stuff
to-
over and take the stuff back.
But it also, you know, there's a lot of stuff in there, and there's stuff that you might not be using. So you should know what you need, if
Okay.
you have volunteers to do those things before they bring it all over.
Okay. Right.
So you wanna help May 31st or whatever?
Yes,
The Friday before?
May 31st.
Let's see if it's Friday.
Well, the road crew doesn't work
the road
Friday, is
crew
that
will be
correct?
off,
Right, so it'd be Thursday.
so they have to bring things over on Thursday.
So if they get things there on Thursday, then Friday, things can get set up. Does that work for you, John?
Matt's coming in tonight, so we'll chat with him
We'll chat
about
with
this.
Okay, wonderful.
It'll probably be in the afternoon when I'm available.
Mm-hmm, sure. Okay. Thank you. Tony, I'm told that you have some sort of field marker sprayer thingy?
No, we borrow it from Scott. So,
Oh,
but he would have no problem lending a field marker for you.
okay,
We can ask him.
okay.
I don't see him saying no.
I've never run one of those things, so I wouldn't know how it works. But we usually mark off the sites for the vendors so that they know where to set up.
His is like a line machine.
Well, but that would work because you just, run that line, run this line, and then that's site one, that's site two, site three.
No, I meant lime as in like it's a
Oh,
powder
lime.
dust.
Oh,
We can
lime.
find one that does the,
Spray
spray
paint.
paint. There's just a
Oh,
little wheel, I
okay.
think my friend has one, we can just grab it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they'll have to get the paint.
Yeah, you can get, I'm sure one or two cans will take care of that. Just white.
Is this something you get at the Dollar
White.
General,
So
or
you
is that?
do, I have some,
Edmonds.
I've got a case,
Edmonds.
I got a case of white at the house.
it has to
Oh.
be a special kind, it has to have a different.
This is marking
nozzle.
stuff for
Yeah.
marking trees, whatever.
Okay, and that would
Cause
work
if you
for
put it,
grass.
if you put it in a
Yes.
wheel, it has to have a nozzle to go in, so when you push the
Right.
handle, it will go, so you can mark what you're doing, so.
Right,
We can advise you on what to get, do you have that kind?
I'll have to take a look, I think it may work on those, It's a long,
Yeah,
I think it's not the spray.
yeah, you can't have
Right.
that,
It's,
won't
it's,
work.
it's a long thing like that, it sticks out and you can push it like this, whatever.
Right.
So I
Uh-huh.
think that'll sit right on, but I got a whole case of it, and that I'll have you sell.
oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jim has the paint, who has the sprayer?
I will find one for you.
Okay. Thank you. Writing things down fast. Often in the past, Tony, we've, parked on the Wilson's property,
Mhm.
and of course, we have to ask them
Yeah, we can reach out,
to,
if they agree, cool, if not, we'll figure something out.
exactly. But we don't want to presume upon them.
No.
No.
We'll definitely ask.
So you're gonna ask.
I can ask him, I see Alan all the time. I've
Right.
always asked him in the past.
Super, thank you. In the past, we've had vendors and people who are gonna be there all day park along the road. Now, had that changed this year? It seems to me there was something that, somebody like just casual attendees were gonna park along the road. Am I confusing that with something?
We parked more cars along the road last year because the field was so wet,
Oh, yes, that's true.
but I think we need to go up there as a board too, to check out what signage is there currently. I think some of the signage from the store back towards Zax's, towards Olson's there, that probably can come out. Cause I think you can park some cars there. You just make sure there's plenty of room for a rescue vehicle. If that's the case, there's no sense in limiting what we've got there for parking.
Right,
It worked out very well last year where we parked people on that left-hand side coming in, and then people would leave, and we just hadn't been filling, it worked out super.
Maybe we should keep it one way,
oh,
yes.
absolutely,
not turning around.
No, one way
Go
out,
this
one
way
way,
and you go up to 202.
you go up to 202, right?
one way in,
And then
one
it's
way
easy.
out.
And we can put the orange fence along
Mhm.
10 or 12 feet in, and then people will know not to run out.
Right, because
Well, if we put the fence up, it's better than nothing, right?
absolutely. In the past, we always had the vendors park along the road, and then attendees parked inside. Now, of course, last year was nothing like anything we ever did. But if the dampness is favorable this year, we need to be able to tell vendors where to park, and they tend to like to park
Close to their stuff.
close to their stuff.
Where do you plan on parking or having them? In the
In
field
the
or-
past, we've had them park along the road.
No, I know that, I mean like the tents, you have the vendors
Oh,
in the
the tents.
field, or you're gonna have them more towards like the infield?
No,
Well-
we can have them park where we had the stage, along Wilson's property,
Yeah, on the middle.
and then they can come around the front, there should be plenty there.
Yeah.
Without being on the field.
That's gonna help it a lot.
Okay. Apropos field or infield, we've been told for years not to park on the infield, but.
No, I know, we talked about that,
Yeah.
actually, you're better off parking on the infield,
Uh-huh.
because you can't really ruin it.
Wow,
Even
okay,
if you make ruts or marks,
Uh-huh.
it just grades right
It's-
out. You won't
Okay.
do any, you
Okay.
could actually, that would be a good spot to park, you could park vendors in there.
Huh.
They'll take the bases out and you're good to go.
well, okay. Good to know.
There's a good amount of room in there.
Yes, there is. And, yeah, I can't remember what the maps were in all the different years, so. I
Do you have
don't
a
know.
map? Do you have a map for this year?
Not yet.
Okay.
We will definitely have a map, but, we don't have one yet. Cause we're still, hearing from vendors and food people and whatnot. Tom, music, what are we gonna have?
4 PM, Eyes of Age.
Okay,
6:30, the White Mountain, Rounders,
uh-huh,
that's it.
cool, okay,
Is it age 6 o'clock?
6:30.
so that'll be starting at 4.
The first band's 4.
First band's at 4.
Yep.
Trying to read my notes, they're not making any sense. When you and I talked last, which was counting votes, you had said that originally you had planned somebody during the day.
I was going to until I found out you
But
got.
you, I mean,
Like-
we don't wanna step on your toes.
Well, I already
If you-
moved them up to 4.
Okay, that's fine. So, if we have Pete Martell do some sort of music feed during the day, that will not,
And I just told him that he'd
Have
have
a-
to be off the stage with his equipment, cause he's got another thing going on in the afternoon, later on that night. So he's gotta have room, we need room for the, cause
Absolutely.
they're bringing a sound system and
Yeah.
stuff. So I just told him he had to be off the stage, I think, by 3:30, I think.
okay, good, so that's all gonna work for
Sure.
you, for Pete, excellent, thank you. Okay, so that's a Pete Martell question. Jim, you all set with pig?
We've talked about it, I'm not, probably have to have insurance.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't think about that, you know?
I never thought about that either.
Yeah.
You mean in case someone gets food poisoning or,
Yeah.
oh my goodness,
It's never happened, but you never know.
no.
I've done hundreds of them, but it still don't, I mean, for a town affair, yeah, I'm a little leery.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So is that gonna be possible for you to, get all that
Our
worked out?
insurance, it would be covered under,
Like,
maybe because it's a town function, it would be covered under.
see if it's covered by it, it should be, like I said, I'm not charging anything for it. The only thing I'm gonna need, we gotta buy or purchase a pig and stuff like that, there'll be a little cost involved with that, but like I said, besides that, we're really not, I'm not charging for the service.
Right.
We're gonna charge so much per plate,
Right, and you pre-sell tickets for it, right?
and you pre-sell the tickets. And a washing station, I mean, I've got the big coolers and stuff, so you can have hot and cold water, so you
Oh,
have someplace to wash your hands and
yes,
all that.
yes, which,
No, we use gloves anyways.
not only part of the code.
Yeah, but it's all plastic, you don't use
Well,
rubber
yeah.
gloves anyways, so.
And, so all codes are gonna be met and, I want that pig to happen.
It's just, I just wanna make sure that we got everything covered on that end.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes,
Check
please,
into that.
please do, it would be
Well,
a real disappointment.
Oh, I think if we set it up properly, and the food's at the right time, eat around 2 to 3 o'clock, then the next thing's music.
Yeah,
And it'll bring people back,
yes, yes,
so it'll bring more interest back to the field.
yes,
Mhm.
it's a wonderful idea.
Maybe, like I say, we get some side dishes made,
Mhm.
beans and
rhubarb sauce.
Yeah.
coleslaw, potato salad, things like that.
Put me down for 2 tickets.
And we'll sit down and figure out we'll figure out the insurance and all the other stuff on that too.
I'll call tomorrow and let you know.
Wonderful, wonderful. And last but not least, gentlemen, will you please judge the pies?
Most definitely. I had 6
Only
pieces.
if you're entering yours.
I had 6 pieces for 10 o'clock last year, and I'll tell you, whew,
Oh, boy.
they weren't very big pieces. but
Should we
they-
make the pieces smaller this
No,
year?
I'm not complaining, it was good. It
I know it gets a little,
was a very tight race, it was like 3 or 4 right neck and
Mhm.
neck.
it was,
Yeah.
it was. Mike
And it's at
Munhall,
10
who came
o'clock?
in second, still teases me. He says, yeah, you were in charge of it and you won. No!
No, it had nothing to do with it. They're all very, very good.
They were. So it'll be 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. And bring your, don't have breakfast.
If we can do the pig takes about 4 hours, 4 to 5.
Oh, okay, then,
So just about the time we're doing the contest, it's gonna have to be all ready to roll.
Yeah.
uh,
okay,
For it to be done at 2,
right.
2 or 3.
Okay. What, would it be better if we started the pies a little sooner? I can do that.
No, 10 o'clock would be all right. We'll just, if the food goes close to 3 or 4 o'clock, it's not a big deal either.
Fine.
Yeah.
I think close to 3 or 4 o'clock, so make more people
Yes,
get there.
yes, right. But not after 4 o'clock. I mean, I'm just saying, after 4 o'clock might,
Well, the thing is,
Too busy.
if somebody wants to eat, I mean, it'd be nice to be able to sell enough tickets so we can pay for the pig and make some money on it.
absolutely.
For you folks, so, yeah, we'll chat about it some more.
Okay. Of the $1,000 that is in the budget for the festival, how do we submit bills to pay? How do we access that money?
It's part of the line item, so
Right.
it's designated explicitly for the roof rack.
You would just have the invoices sent to the town and we'll pay them.
Okay.
You'll have to authorize them and approve them.
Mhm.
We'll be in touch with you if something comes in.
Okay, because, we just, need to know that, because we haven't done that before.
Yeah.
I mean, the library does payments and things, but not as a,
It should keep it fairly simple, though. I mean, it should
Yeah.
be pretty easy.
okay,
Just
Good.
just keep track of it and
Uh-huh.
submit the invoices or have them sent here directly.
okay,
If you can memo somewhere Rhubarb Fest,
Oh,
then we'll
absolutely.
know.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so, I mean, I don't know when we would incur certain expenses, but, you know, some of them might be before the festival, some, the rest would be after the festival.
The money's already been appropriated, so anytime, I mean, if we had something came up now, it could actually be taken care of, so.
And that's one of those use it or lose it expenses, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
But I'll be around, like I say, I probably can help set up and stuff like that, I just gotta make sure, if in fact I'm doing the pig, it takes quite a long time to get it
Yes.
set up. But once that's rolling, just gotta watch it, make sure the
Does
belt
its own
keeps,
thing,
you gotta be somewhere close to the power.
Yeah.
yes.
That's got a DC motor, belt driven, so it's, it's
Oh,
quiet.
so we need to make sure we have power for you.
it doesn't take very much.
Well, no, but there are other people who would be plugging in as well, so we
Right,
wanna make sure that,
I got plenty of cords, so,
I know that.
we only had to spin one by hand once, you don't wanna have to do that,
No.
it's painful.
Do you know what they used to do in the medieval times? They had a wheel with a dog in it
They had all kinds of
to
different
turn a
setups.
spit. And, or sometimes a child, I'm sure, but, the dog would just run in this little hamster wheel and, or big. and
There were some
turn a
setups
spit.
too, with cattle or a horse would actually pull something around and actually it would spin.
Oh my
I've seen
goodness.
that.
Yeah.
I've seen that for grinding grain, but never for, turning a spit. Amazing. And, okay, is there anything, that I need to answer for you guys?
I think we went over a lot of it right here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, getting all the stuff up there, I mean, it's, we'll talk with Matt later on to find out what the availability we get.
Okay.
Really don't wanna bring stuff up there the night before.
We could work his schedule so he's available,
Maybe he takes Thursday until Friday that week.
or just
Or half a day on Thursday and half a day on Friday.
do community service
Mhm.
thing and do it.
Well, we always set up the day before,
Oh,
so
yeah, sure.
I don't think the tents would be,
Oh,
Well,
this,
before it was,
Harold.
before we had the Rhubarb Festival started on Friday, so we set it up on Thursday.
on Thursday, right,
Yeah.
so it's always set up the day before
But-
the festival
But there
actually
was
starts.
people, there was a lot of people around.
That's true.
And if, you know, we have tents and boxes and all other kinds of things, you know, it's really close to the road.
Right, we don't just want it dumped off and left there,
Right.
we want to set it up.
Set it up.
And that always looks so festive, to have it
Yeah.
set up, the day before, and people drive by and go, oh,
Mhm.
oh, look, there's something going there.
So do you have a lot of volunteers, do you?
Right now, all the
Excuse me.
work is being done by the library trustees,
How many is that?
and, oh goodness, we are. There's 6 of us. And then, you know, we all know that to do each different thing, we need a pool of volunteers.
Oh,
I mean, other
definitely.
people as well.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
not just the 6 of us. We're in the
You never
planning
have it.
stages right now, and we know that we need many volunteers.
Yeah, my wife's gonna, she's gonna help out too.
Oh,
She's
splendid,
gonna make some food too, but she's definitely on board,
great,
and hopefully she'll grab a few other people too.
wonderful,
My-
Just call me, I'll help you.
okay. Oh, now,
Maybe I can,
is there something somewhere written that a town employee can't volunteer or something weird like that?
not that I've ever
Somebody told
heard
me
of.
that and said, just make sure that
There's a
it's-
labor law, it's not a town thing, it's like a federal labor law that an employee cannot be asked to volunteer for their same job, if that makes sense. So just to circle back to Matt, you can't ask Matt to volunteer and doing his same job that he's also can get paid for. But if you just rearrange your hours,
Yeah.
so that people's hours, like Tony said, just line up people's hours with the festival, then it works out fine.
Aha, okay,
Just ask me, Joe Davidson, as a person from Peterborough, do I wanna help you on Friday? And I'd be happy to.
Okay,
But that could be considered illegal, is what I'm trying to say. So
It's
you,
not clerical work though, it's not like, it's not like it's doing office work.
I mean, right, so, I mean, you
Office
could
hours.
try to finagle it that way, but it's almost easier so that there's no issue, to just rearrange your hours that week, so then no one can
I'll
say,
just be Deb
you know what
Davidson,
I'm saying?
Peterborough resident and available when you need me.
Us being selectmen is no big deal.
right, cause you're not employees,
We're not
yeah.
employees, we're just,
And eating pie is not part of your usual job.
No.
I don't know.
that better not be illegal.
Yes, we don't want eating pie to be illegal,
No.
not now, not anytime. All right, well, thank you, one and all, and, do you want to hear from us again, or?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're definitely
Okay.
together again, sure.
It would be
Okay.
good just to
Yeah.
make sure everything's on track.
Yes, okay,
You're talking 2 months.
this is April.
April
May,
first.
Well,
June.
2 months will be June,
June
it'll be
first.
gone by then.
Yeah.
2 months is June, you
Yeah.
got all of, all of April,
Better
all of
be a
May,
month.
you got 2 months.
End of April, or beginning of May.
Yeah. Okay, okay,
But like, yeah, but I'm saying, we only got 2 months before it actually happens, so we
Yeah.
need to get together before then, you know.
yep, definitely, okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Molly. Bethany?
Well, and Melissa, I mean, Melissa's part of this possibly as well. Okay, so I'm here on behalf of, well, this is one of my questions, what shall we call ourselves? I'm here on behalf of the group of folks who came together for discussing education in Bennington. Some of us were here last meeting when Michael Hoyt from the school board was here, so some folks came to that and couldn't come tonight, so it's just me and Melissa.
Like I said, I went to the school board meeting the night after our meeting here, and I got up and spoke, but I think they're overwhelmed with the whole thing, especially with the Town and Dublin.
From the stuff I read online, the different people commenting places, it seems like this meeting tomorrow night is gonna be where they actually talk about it.
Tomorrow night, definitely, because I got up and spoke, and they all kept their heads down, and didn't really even acknowledge my presence, so. And that's the other thing, we've gotta get some answers. I wanted to be at the Selectmen Advisory Committee, and I've always had a sour taste with that, because I put a lot of time into it, and nothing ever got done. I mean, the school board would listen to you. We feel good about, amongst the group, as far as it went. But I think I want to go basically for that, to see where everybody else stood. Kind of know where they're standing on this. But like I said, at the school board the other night, is that all the people that I talked to, is not so much this town campaigning, but other towns in the district. So many people felt they're gonna save money if the school's closed.
Right.
And shame on them for not being educated on it, but like I told the school board, I said, we've all gotta do a better job, including myself, about educating people. And being more transparent, and have people really know what the issue is and how it's gonna affect them. But 70–80% of the people think they gotta have a reduction in their tax
Right,
bill.
and then a lot
It's
of those
crazy.
are the bigger towns, so they think closing the littler towns, they get less, but they didn't realize it's not set in stone that they'll be closing our school, cause they could decide to close Antrim Middle School and make everybody go to Peterborough, from what that guy said here that night, so it sounds like
And the other parts
they
about
don't have a plan.
the education overall, if 2 towns pull out, how's that affect the rest of the towns? I don't think it's gonna affect us positively.
Is that part of the feasibility study, is it just how it'll affect
They didn't have any questions, they had no,
Francistown, or
they
will
had,
it, will the feasibility study say how it'll
I
affect
think
the
the
rest of
feasibility
us?
study probably will, I hope it would cover some of that. As of right now, from the last,
I read the meeting minutes from
Right.
the meeting
the
and
last
stuff.
survey they did, they had no answers for any of that stuff.
So,
Long-term impacts for the economic impacts in the towns.
yeah. So, to answer some of the feasibility study questions, so I did go to the Selectmen's Advisory Council meeting, and there was, I don't know what to call myself, general public, and there was some other general public there from Dublin as well. So the majority of that meeting was about Dublin. Francistown's, there was no select board member from Francistown there. But Kimberly wasn't there, Alan Elkind wasn't there, so there was a bunch of key players that were missing from that meeting. Kimberly called in, but it's so hard when someone's like on the phone and everyone else is live. Anyway, so, the big question about the feasibility, or have you three decided which of you will do it?
We haven't even talked about it yet.
Okay, so you'll have to decide, it could be one of you for both feasibility studies, or it could be two of you, like Tom could do Francistown's and Tony could do Dublin's, and there might be some meetings where they can
I'm
meet
suspecting
together.
at tomorrow night's meeting, they may have a time frame on when this is all gonna happen
Yeah.
also.
They've got 60 days from when it was voted on to form the committee.
I think they said something about
May
May
11th,
10.
May 10th
Yeah.
or 11th, yeah.
So that will come out, and I know the school board's, general counsel will be present at tomorrow night's meeting to talk to them about that, because like Jim is saying,
Well,
they didn't realize how much work this is going to be. And now now they all are well aware that, cause all 9 of them have to, or Peterborough and
Peterborough's
Antrim,
4-H mass too, so
yeah, they have a little bit more flexibility, but all the small towns, their school board rep
has to be there.
has to
everyone.
be there, and a selectman, right. So, back to real quick, the Selectmen's Advisory Council meeting. One really interesting thing, I guess this is not shocking, but Dublin really is not just talking about leaving because because they wanted to close the school. They have a lot to say about the way that, each town pays. And so, they actually did a feasibility study back in 2005 and considered leaving, decided against it, cause the school district had debt. Now we're debt free, so if someone leaves right now, they can leave like scot-free, there's no, debt that they have to pay off. So this is sort of a key time, so that's sort of a big conversation that they were having as well.
And they would save a ton of money doing so.
Yeah, or they would pay the same amount of money and guarantee that they
Right.
keep their elementary school, so
Right.
I think they're kind of the furthest ahead as far as any of the towns go, and maybe the most passionate about finding, a solution.
They're the more feasible to go
Yeah.
in their own direction. It really
Zero
is.
thing. And they're looking, I brought this in case anybody didn't see it, right on the front page, there's an article written by, I don't know this reporter, Cameron Cashman, I don't know if he's new or been around, but I think it's well written, and they're really looking at every high school you can imagine in their geographic area, private schools, public schools, and even, for the younger kids, looking at the Peterborough charter schools, so like nothing's off the table for them. They're gonna look at every option that there is, and they have quite a few very passionate, people on their committee. Well, passionate in both ways, passionate to keep an elementary school, passionate to close it and save as much money as possible, so. So to circle back to our committee, my first question would be if we can just think of a name to call it. We've called it so many different things between Deb and I on different documents that I just don't want people to think it's a bunch of different things. My suggestion would be just call it the Bennington Education Advisory Committee. I mean, we don't make, as a committee, we wouldn't make any decisions, it's advisory to the select board. But then we could put minutes and things on, there's like a schools tab of our town website that just lists the schools. We could maybe put the minutes there, and anything else that we want to,
So that sounds good, I mean.
is that fine? I mean, I don't know if
What do
you
you
can
guys
vote
think?
on that.
That sounds good to me.
Sounds all right.
And then I don't need to be the chair, I've been listed as the chair a few times, and, I mean, I don't know that we need a chair, let's just put it that way. I think we could just be a group that meets on a regular basis with you
I
guys.
listed you as the chair because you were the only
Right,
contact
exactly, and I mean, I
so-
could just be like listed as the contact person,
Liaison.
that's fine, any title, I don't need to have any kind of,
Do we need appointments for this? Is this just like an advisory committee?
It's advisory.
I don't know, and
We
I
don't
think
need
people could come and
appointments.
go, so Mike Hoy, our school board rep, would like to be a part of it. Rich Page and Michelle Stahl, and then, I'm assuming Joe McGregor, Mike Munhall, and John Manley all would like to continue to be a part of it. If you guys have other suggestions of people, I mean, those are the people that have had the most
Sure.
passion. I've got an email list 20 people along that want to be informed, but they don't wanna show up, so, which is fine, and once we start putting minutes on the website, they can be informed by reading those
The
minutes.
Mike Hoyt, Rich Page,
I
Michelle
can put it out, I
Stahl,
can put it out there, but I mean,
And then,
that's a pretty good group, and it's,
then
Glenn
Mike
Hall,
Munhall.
Joe McGregor,
and John Manley,
oh, John.
and Melissa and I. I would love if there was a teacher, but I think there's a little bit, like, uneasy feeling. You know, I would love if there was like an actual Conval teacher, but I think they feel a little uneasy putting themselves out there when they're a current employee. You know what I'm saying? It can be a hard position to
You
be
could
in.
ask them.
So, I mean, I have some that are on my email list, but I don't know if they want the world to know, you know? But we'll see.
but to make this as transparent as possible, I mean, it would be nice to have people from all facets of the
Well,
spectrum involved,
And
because,
to be fair, some of the people on that list, including Mike Hoyt, obviously, are fans of closing, not fans, that's the wrong word, but they're supportive of closing Pierce School. And I think it is important to have all the perspectives.
oh, you gotta have.
Even though I'm very passionate about keeping Pierce School open, and I think Melissa is too.
Oh, it is not closed.
Then, but I think we can't just be a committee, like, only represents one side of the Bennington
Like I've always said,
opinion.
if they came up with a figure saying, if we close these elementary schools, you're gonna save $15 million a year, and you're gonna see XYZ on reduction in your tax bill, you've gotta take a look at it. It's crazy not to. We're not gonna save a cent, it's crazy. And I just don't know, I wanna find out that, one of my main questions is, what kind of money are we looking to save? What you folks are saying right now, we've gotta do something to save our district. What's that number? I don't believe it could have been closing
Honestly,
4
I think
elementary schools.
they went under the guise of saving taxes and being a plan and closing the smaller schools so they could take away our right to vote. You know,
Right,
how we
that was
would,
more their point.
right, I think that was their point, so that they could do what they want and we couldn't have a say. That's what I think they were after, and they were trying to be sneaky about it.
Oh, they're definitely sneaky about it.
Yeah, 'cause
That's definitely what they want.
I know it's on YouTube, but I don't trust the dirty bastards.
The question I
I'll
posed,
edit that out, don't
the
say
question I
that.
posed the other
I
night,
just have to check not for
not one,
children.
not one of them picked their heads up from the table to look at me when I was speaking, not one.
Right, cause
Right.
Of all those
they,
people that,
they were just being, I think they were being sneaky, I think that was their whole point to, and that's why the document was so big and thick, and reading through it, cause I skimmed through most of it, it was all,
I wasn't trying to
BS.
throw them under the bus either, I say it's part of my responsibility to be more transparent and communicate more, so everybody knows what's going on with these issues. And they didn't do it, but, see, what they did was, they knew what they were doing. They sent out just enough information, so they've done their due diligence,
Mhm.
but they know the next amount of percentage of the population out there is not gonna take it for what it's worth, they're gonna make assumptions.
Right.
And that's what people did.
Right.
And that's what they wanted them to do,
exactly.
but they only got 45% of the vote by doing so. And I'm gonna let them know, I guess I gotta go tomorrow night, about 7 o'clock, because I wanna hear their perspective on it.
Well, and at the Selectmen's Advisory Council meeting, both Hancock and Greenfield did say, if their school had been on the list, their vote would have gone very differently. They were voting in favor of it because they thought they were safe, and that's the reality. If,
Nobody's safe.
well,
Right.
exactly.
They
The
gave that
phase two-
misconception.
Phase 2 might have been, okay, now let's close these little schools,
Right,
so.
and that our school leader that I'm regretting
Well,
voting for.
God forbid, we lose a couple towns out of this because of this, because I don't think they're gonna like the outcome of it.
No,
It's not gonna be cheaper.
No.
I don't see how it can be.
Well, it won't be cheaper for Bennington, for sure, cause as we all know, we are a receiving town. And if we don't have Francistown and Dublin's donor town money coming in, our $12,000 a student is gonna definitely go up to $18,000 a student, which I understand is still less than the cost of educating them, but everyone's gonna have to shoulder that, tax burden if a town leaves, for sure. Cause if Dublin takes their $5 million and leaves, even though we're not operating that school anymore or educating those kids, we still aren't, it's not a wash. We're not just like, okay, we'll see you later, so that'll be the challenge for sure. Sorry, I don't wanna interrupt anyone if they have more to say on that, but back to our town website. So Joe McGregor had brought up at the last meeting that we had, about this topic, that maybe we could have, this was before the vote, maybe we could have a letter from the selectmen that was in support of Pierce School. Now that we're after the vote, and there's not the concern of having a particular view, should we come up with some type of a statement from this advisory group about our desire for keeping schools open, or should it just be
We've got,
real neutral?
we've got to have some sort of solid statement, because I think what's happening right now, they get spiked 45%, is all they get for a vote to close those schools. So now it's to drive it home, because
Yeah.
this is where I wanna see where they're at, and they wouldn't answer any questions the other night, is that they weren't even close to getting their 2/3.
That's why the vote.
So now is to drive this thing home and making statements like this and get it out
Right.
there, and all the other stuff that goes along with it. It's not just the towns that are gonna lose their schools, it's the rest of the district. And like I told them, I said, we have a nice district here. I says, I'm fearful right now that we're in the process of destroying what we've got here. And another gentleman got up behind me, he says, we gotta stop kicking this can down the road and figure out what we're gonna do to strengthen our district.
Yeah.
And not do what we just did here, because this is crazy. And he was right,
And they do it every couple of years,
Right.
so.
right, so
Right.
we've gotta come up with some sort of statement and drive this home and keep on driving it home.
Right. so
And get more
it's
people
solid.
educated, saying, listen, this is what they're proposing, and it's not gonna go away. And I think we did, like I said, I talked to a lot of people in other towns too, and I had a letter that was gonna go out, and I held it back. And I'm gonna let them know about it, because if they keep on going this route, I says, your next vote's won't even be anywhere near as close as this one. Because, and I need some people to look at it too, because I'm a little strong on things. You don't wanna shoot yourself in the foot.
Listen, Jim, why don't you send it to me, or send it to, we can send it to like everyone in the group. I know that you guys as a select board can't talk about things over email, but we can talk about things over email as an advisory group. We could come up with a statement.
We have to be careful of electioneering on that end of it too.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but we, as the advisory group, could write it up, and then we could send it to, give it to you guys to look at a meeting and approve, and then we could have it on the website. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's gotta be something out there, we've gotta figure out what's the best way of going about it without causing any damage on the other end of it. I wanna drive this thing home so it buries them, so we never even think about doing this again.
Right. Well,
And, the look on their face the other night, they were pretty deflated. I wanna keep them that way. But I want them to talk to us. What really are your aspirations? What are your goals? What are you trying to do here? I mean, I don't think none of us really know what they're up to.
No, and that study didn't say anything. It's like
Costs
maybe
$180,000
Obamacare.
for nothing, and it's put a division in this district.
Right.
It's crazy. So, yeah, I think we have to sit down and talk about this, and sometime soon, have something go out.
because, so Francistown has, or they just took it down, and I think they're just rewriting it now that the vote's done. But Francistown had something on their website. Temple actually has something in their master plan stating that, having a school in their town is important. So, whatever we decide to do, and it can be kind of neutral, like Tom's saying, it doesn't have to be totally in support of keeping Pierce School exactly as it is, or, always having a school in town. But it should be in support of, Bennington students and, what's the best thing for our students, kind of thing. And I believe it's having a school in our town. Some people might disagree, but we could have kind of a statement as a town saying, we aren't gonna, just do whatever the district wants, and that we need to have a say in.
We all wanna achieve higher education regardless, but not at any cost. And even if this went through, we're gonna get better education out of all this, not at all. So I think we've gotta really concentrate on trying to, whatever we do, is better education throughout the district. Definitely not do what, it was premature at best, like, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
It really was.
I would agree with that. I think if they waited a year and done what they were supposed to do, which was to study the social impact, I think they would have learned a lot more about, what closing a building means.
They had very few answers on some very important questions.
Right. Okay, so if you're comfortable with it, Jim, if you wanna send me your letter, if you wanna edit it first and then send it to me.
The letter I sent out, I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep that, I'll keep that, I'm gonna keep it
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it on ice, because
Okay,
that's my one,
That's
that's
fine.
that's the one in the chamber you don't let go unless you really, really have to.
okay, that's
But
fine.
but I think we get bits and pieces off of it.
Sure, send me what you want, I will talk with the other people on the committee, and we'll come up with a recommendation for you guys to look at and edit however you want, and then could go on the website, along with,
Like I said, we just have to be careful coming from the board on what,
Right.
how it's presented on certain issues. We can talk about all this stuff, but it's like, electioneering and stuff that,
Well, can we put it on the website and say it's from the Bennington Education Advisory Committee, not you guys?
most definitely.
Here we go.
Yeah.
that's true, and, but also, I mean, I don't think that there's anything wrong
If
with
there's
the
nothing wrong with
select
this
board saying that they
I would love my
support
name all over
Bennington
it.
education.
No doubt about it.
Right, but I
Just
I
don't
mean,
say vote yay or nay.
Right, you don't have, cause we're not on a vote anymore, you know
No.
what I'm saying, we're not writing anything about
We're
how
looking
someone
to go
should
forward
vote.
down the road and making this district a better district than it is now. And we're not going down that path at all, not even close.
Okay, so Jim has already mentioned a few times that tomorrow night is the school board meeting. They will let you speak for 2 minutes if you're interested. I will warn everyone that there is another major issue that's gonna come up tomorrow night. Kevin Proctor, who is the athletic director, his contract has not been renewed, and people love Kevin. So I can't tell you why it hasn't been renewed, I don't know if anyone knows. And so there will be a lot of people who will speak up on his behalf tomorrow at the
So
meeting.
there may not be a lot of time to talk
And they'll
about.
all be given their 2 minutes, and even though the school board won't respond to them, they'll let them each get up and talk. So there could be a large crowd drowning out this issue.
But the school board's supposed to talk about the vote.
Yes, it's on their agenda. I'm just saying, if you're hoping
No, I'm.
to have your 2 minutes.
Oh, no, not, only if I hear something I wanna, you know, I wanna listen.
I mean, I'm hopeful too that the streaming problem has been remedied. I don't understand how it comes and goes, but I'm not a tech person, but hopefully it will be
There was
available.
Her secretary, what's her name?
Brenda,
was up working on it, and she was frustrated.
Yeah.
And she was working really hard to get that going. And she would work, I was there early. Carol and I got there probably 15 minutes before it started. She was up there and just nothing would work for her.
yeah.
the video, it showed like an empty table
Right.
and like a woman working for like 2 minutes and then it
That was
just,
her, that was
yeah,
Brenda.
and then it
yeah.
just
Brent-
like went away and I was like,
But
what the
Brenda was
hell?
working on it.
Yeah.
I think she was trying to.
It's unfortunate, I'm hopeful it'll be
And they
available,
didn't-
cause
they
people
didn't-
do like to be able to watch, you know.
They didn't say enough to say even broadcast, but bottom, you'd see that they were very kind of, not really distracted, but, you know, like I said, me and one other gentleman talked about the vote, and it was absolutely nothing. I mean, it just,
I'm sure it was a big knock to Kimberly's ego.
they expected that to be a lot closer. 45% is, it could have been a lot worse than that. But I felt we're gonna, I think saw those numbers about right there. I was hoping to be less than that, but 45% was good. Even 50%. Conval, that's Conval, yeah. Peterborough was 75% for closing. But the other towns
Yeah.
offset that by a lot.
Well, and that's sort of the entire point of the Articles of Agreement, was to give everyone a fair, even though we have less school board reps, the 2/3 is to make it fair for everyone. You know, and I just wrote an op-ed for the newspaper, cause I'm gonna be on a panel next week, and that was the big thing, it's like, stop trying to change the Articles of Agreement, work within them to make change, and that's the challenge, because every time they try to change them, it doesn't pass.
The weighted vote, I still wanna know more about that. I still don't have any, because that takes away Conval, Peterborough, go back to Conval. Conval's 4 votes in Antrum's 2. And it puts everybody at a level playing field on certain issues. I just don't
Right.
know how far it goes in one direction or the
And
other.
it's based on your students, right? I was reading up on
It's
it.
based on that, but you
It's like
can't
every
vote,
12 students, you get a vote kind of thing.
but it creates more of a level playing field. It's no different than our electoral college.
Right, exactly, yeah. Okay, my other 2 items, let's see. As a advisory committee, I don't know what you wanna come up with for a meeting schedule, but it would be a lot easier for us as a committee if we had a set schedule. I'm gonna recommend quarterly. If you think that's too often or not enough, you can tell me, but I would say if we came in once every 3 months,
Mhm.
you're gonna have a lot more to share with us once these feasibility studies start.
Most definitely.
And
Yeah, once a
then-
quarter would be fine.
so then the next time we would meet, well, it would be July first, but I imagine that's a vacation week for a lot of folks, so I would suggest the last Monday of June. School would have been done, we'll have a lot more information about the feasibility studies and where that's at. But I was thinking, I think that's doable from this group standpoint, meeting quarterly. I think if we only met twice a year, that would be not enough.
4 times a year is perfect, because like I say, we got it against the ropes right now, we wanna keep this thing, keep this out there.
Yeah.
We don't want it to diminish whatsoever.
Sure. And obviously the towns that are in doing feasibility studies, I mean, they're meeting weekly, Dublin and Francistown, but they're in a very different boat than us, you know, they've got a different agenda going forward. Our agenda right now is to stay with Conval, you know, so, so that would be the end, you know, about July first or the week before, June 24th, and
That'd be
then
fine.
September 30th, and then we're into January after that. So if that works for you guys, and
That's fine.
if I can tell the rest of the people this early when the meetings are, then we're more likely to get everyone to come, kind of thing. Okay, so
Alright.
you said that was June 24th?
Yep.
And September 30th. And then the last meeting I wanted to bring up, I'm gonna go, and everyone is invited, is on Wednesday at 6 o'clock in Dublin. The Dublin Education Committee has organized it so that Dublin, Temple, Francistown, and Bennington are all invited, although anyone could show up. And everyone, the goal is for everyone to sort of share with each other where we're at. So obviously Dublin and Francis,
What day is it?
this is this Wednesday, so the 3rd, 6 p.m.,
Snow.
Dublin Town Hall, lower level.
We
It's
got a lot-
gonna be snow.
we got a lot of snow.
Well, it'll probably get postponed, like, let's be
Right, right.
honest, but
Right, but it's Wednesday.
for now, so that is, Jay, I'll think of his last name. He's the chair of the Dublin committee. He's organized it, and his goal is that occasionally all 4 towns could come together, because it is true that we're all meeting and having these very same conversations, and maybe there's areas where we could use their information, they could use ours, and maybe we're all working hard when we could all be working together.
Hopefully none of them are going anywhere, hopefully they'll be staying put.
Well, I hope so too, I hope everyone stays.
So your committee will just meet with these 4 towns
Well,
occasionally?
Yeah, so if a town, especially if a town has a speaker coming in, Temple is most likely, of the 4 towns, Temple's the most likely to be looking into a charter option, so they might have someone come and speak about charter schools. And if all 4 towns were interested, it makes sense for us all to hear the same speech instead of inviting that same attorney to come talk to each town separately, if that makes sense. And I think that's it.
All right, we got other people
Let's see
coming
if
in,
I'm
Matt's,
That-
Oh, no.
That's later.
Okay,
no,
Will you
thank you.
send something out if
Good,
it
thank
gets, postponed?
I will,
For
okay,
sure.
yes, if Wednesday's meeting gets postponed, I'll let you know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So you said, is that the townhouse in Dublin?
Yes, town hall, is it
Town
called town hall? Lower level,
Lower level,
but I'll email everyone and remind them, or tell you about the rescheduling if there is one.
Hey,
yeah. Sorry, Matt.
Good evening.
good.
How are you?
All right,
So what have you heard, what's coming?
Oh, Wednesday looks like it's gonna be, well, more or less a lot of snow. So probably between 8 and 10 inches throughout just Wednesday, and then later on.
Have you heard, approximately when you estimate that to start?
Yeah, it's gonna switch over between 10 and midnight Tuesday.
Well, I was just
And then
thinking,
we continue
oh,
through
really? Cause I
until,
was thinking about maybe closing the transfer station.
that was, yeah, I was gonna ask that.
Yeah.
So then that way we can upgrade the truck a little bit.
That's.
It's gonna be that, if it's gonna
That's
be
what I
that bad,
was
it should be
thinking.
shut down.
Yeah.
Close
Alright.
the transfer station.
Yeah, put something,
Town hall,
something on that.
probably town hall's gonna be closed too by the sounds.
Yes, I think so.
It's gonna be most of the daylight hours that we're gonna get the major amount of the snow, so. I mean, it'll be best to have offices closed up so that we can clean up easier.
Are you guys still on 8 hours right now?
Well, we just switched to 10, but we did.
You just
We just did 8 today, and tomorrow it seems that we're gonna be working additional hours
got you.
throughout the rest of the week. So, And we have everything geared up, everybody's got their roots together, that's gonna be, a little more.
I think some of the people out there calling, were calling because I think they wanted things done a little quicker.
Hmm.
You know, I think once things got done, things opened right up, like Antrim Road, that turned out perfect, but I think some of the calls were, people looking to get out an hour or two earlier, just to pass that along. Besides that, things opened up quick after that, you know.
Absolutely.
Did you have the wings on?
On the little truck,
Little.
yeah, everything's way too soft, so.
Yeah,
If you get,
you get caught
if you
in
get
it,
off the edge of it,
you'll rip them right off.
and rip the edge of the road, right? Yeah, especially with DJs is, I mean, the weight of the Civic pretty much, so. That's a lot bigger, right? You're gonna have to be careful off of the pavement, that's for sure. That's for sure. Luckily, we're not still in mud season so bad, but.
You know, the ground's on fire now.
Nightmare.
Oh, yeah.
In a pack.
It's still soft, but it's not like,
Yeah,
2
but
feet of mud.
it also dried out and packed up enough that hopefully we can scrape it, you know, periodically through. We're probably not gonna be able to get right down the pavement, but, I mean, we'll break down the dirt, but we can sand it. And we'll get that.
and that's going good. Napa's doing all right, new truck.
Absolutely.
Any bites on the old truck?
Nope, not yet.
Is it put out there? Is it on that
No.
website yet?
No, that was like,
Matt, did you get my email
on the
with all,
bridges?
on the bridges and on all the equipment? I just wanna make sure it's listed properly. It's the time of year to renew our insurance, so they sent me a list.
I didn't get the insurance
Oh,
one.
you didn't?
No, not yet, but the bridges one, we have the one that does the canal outside the paper mill. That concrete one that goes across, to the end, at the end of Antrim Road, and then, I think,
Mountain
do we own, no, those are all culverts.
Okay.
Do we own half of the Antrim Bennington one at the end of North?
Yeah.
Do we have to have half of that insured, in a way, to cover our costs?
We own half, Antrim owns half. I mean, when that was done, that was 50-50.
So I have pictures of 2 of them currently.
I've got the Antrim Road
I think-
ones,
Yeah.
but it just dawned on me that if we own half of the Antrim Bennington one at the end of North, do we have to insure our half of the cost?
I would imagine.
I would say
So
so.
that would be something to take pictures of.
Can we go over that before it starts snowing tomorrow, and
Yeah,
that would be good.
That bridge down by the paper mill, somebody said that's red listed. We haven't been notified on that.
It is red listed, and we have something they wanted you guys, I sent a copy of it to
The
Matt.
Arch Bridge leaving?
oh, no, not the arch bridge.
No,
No,
they're-
No, the one by Alberto's, right? That goes
right,
underneath the
but
road.
it's not scheduled on their 10-year plan yet.
Yeah, but I met with a guy back in 2016 on that, and he had figures, and we're all approved for the 80% and everything else.
We're not,
And then
That's
We're
more,
not too invested in
that's more of a
books.
culvert than anything else, I believe.
uh,
It's a box, it's one of the water comes into the canal.
oh, to go into the mill?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Alright,
That's
that's
red listed.
that's a boat, that's a box boat.
That's a box culvert.
Yeah, the bridge over the canal coming out of the mill, that one's the one that's red listed. That one's the
Oh,
one
the red
when I
one?
just talked to him,
That one's red listed too?
that one's the one that's red listed, not the box culvert one.
Oh, yeah, it was. I went over with the guy from the state, oh, yeah. I spent 3 hours up there with him. That's the one right by Alberto's.
Oh, he was telling me it was the one that went
No.
over the other one,
No,
the Sierra Wilkie.
you know, Gary Russell and I and the guy from the state met right there, and we went, they dropped the water down, we got underneath it, and checked all the, what had to be done and everything else. That's the one that was red listed at the time.
but it's not on their list, on their radar.
I just wanna make sure we don't have
They're
any
like up
others.
in Swansea.
But they usually send us reports on the other bridges.
Right.
Yeah. When I talked to him last year, it was